Hey, what's up, y'all? As you guys know, the NFL draft is tomorrow, and I couldn't be more excited. Okay, actually, I could be more excited because it was supposed to be held in Vegas, the happiest place on earth in the Bellagio fountain. But instead, it's all going to be virtual. It's all going to be online because of the coronavirus. NFL teams are actually going to be on Zoom calls making their picks. And I heard that one general manager was like doing a mock draft on his computer. And because his kid went on the iPad and was like watching some Disney movie or something like that, it totally cut out. This is going to be a whole mess. Just like what I'm about to do today, I'm going to do my version, my best version of a mock draft, letting you guys know where I think everybody's going to be picked. It's impossible to predict the whole thing. We have experts every year with tons of different mock drafts flying around on the internet, and none of them are completely right. So, for each correct pick, I'm going to need you guys to Venmo or Cashapp me. I'm going to put my links to Venmo and Cashapp down in the description. So, honestly, I'm going to need some money for each correct pick I get. So, let's get started. Let's get into it with the first overall pick. Wait, hold up. Let's get some music real quick. Hey, producer, let's get some music. Hold up. All right, there we go. Okay, so with the first overall pick in the 2020 virtual NFL Tyler mock draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select quarterback Joe Burrow out of LSU. Joe Burrow just finished probably the greatest college football season in history. He's the clear number one pick here. Not saying I think he's going to be the best quarterback in the draft, but the Bengals have a need. He's the number one prospect right now. Joe Burrow goes to Cincinnati. On to number 2, the Washington Redskins select pass rusher Chase Young out of Ohio State. Chase Young is a dominant force. The Redskins are trying to build up that defense under Ron Rivera. Clear pick for them. Those top 2 picks are probably locked. I think Burrow and Chase Young are going top 2. With the 3rd overall pick in Tyler's virtual mock draft. Whoa, we got a trade here. So, the Detroit Lions were slated to select at number 3 here. The Miami Dolphins are trading up from the number 5 pick to the number 3 pick to select offensive tackle Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. So the Dolphins, I'm hearing rumors that they're wanting to trade up to number 3. The Lions are willing to trade back. The Dolphins want an offensive tackle. There's tons of them in this draft. They pick up Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. Great choice. Number 4, the New York Giants are on the clock. They're thinking maybe they want to go offensive tackle here. But the pick is in. They are going with the best athlete on the board. The New York Giants select linebacker safety Isiah Simmons out of Clemson. This dude is an athletic freak. He can play pretty much any position on defense except corner. This dude's a monster. The Giants are getting a defensive centerpiece here. So now the 5th overall pick is going to be made by the Detroit Lions after the trade with the Miami Dolphins. And the Detroit Lions select cornerback Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State. He's the best corner in the draft. The Lions have a need after they traded away Darius Slay. Great choice there by Detroit. Now we move on to number 6. Not San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers are on the clock. They need a quarterback. Looks like the Chargers will take quarterback Tua Tagavaiola. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So I'm going to put that right there, down there in that section. Tua goes to the Chargers out of Alabama. This dude was probably before Burrow had this crazy season. Tua was going to be the number 1 pick, no doubt. He had some injuries this season, but Tua is probably the best prospect in the draft, in my opinion. He's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal quarterback. The Chargers are getting a steal there at number 6. We move on to number 7, where the Carolina Panthers select defensive lineman Derrick Brown out of Auburn. He's an absolute beast on the interior defensive line. Really, it's pretty impressive that in this draft class he would fall to number 7 because he might go, top 3 in some other drafts. So, Panthers get Derrick Brown. Now, here goes another tackle with the 8th overall pick. The Arizona Cardinals select Tristan Wirfs out of, looks like he was out of Iowa, that's right. The Iowa offensive tackle, I heard he was an absolute beast in the combine. Tristan Wirfs is going to be protecting Kyler Murray in that, high-powered Cliff Kingsbury offense. Kyler Murray was running for his life last year. He needs protection. He gets an elite tackle here. Now we move on to number 9, where we have yet another trade. So number 9 was previously owned by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is now traded to the Atlanta Falcons, where they select cornerback C.J. Henderson out of Florida. The Jaguars. They're pretty much under the impression that they are going to be the worst team in football next year. They're trying to get as many picks as possible to make sure that if they need to trade up next year, they can get quarterback Trevor Lawrence in next year's draft class. So the Jags are willing to move back. The Falcons move up and get the second best corner in this draft, C.J. Henderson. Now we move on to number 10, where the Cleveland Browns, they need a tackle. They need Baker Mayfield's blindside protected. They pick up Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. This dude is probably the best tackle in the draft from what I'm hearing. I think he's probably the safest of the O-line picks. This dude is a monster. He's going to protect Baker Mayfield with Jack Conklin, recent signing by the Browns, being on the other side. Great pickup by Cleveland. We move on to number 11, where yet another tackle comes off the board. The New York Jets select Mekhi Becton. This dude's really good. I heard he's very versatile on the O-line. He can play multiple positions. The New York Jets need protection for Sam Darnold. These young quarterbacks, they got to be able to move. They got to be able to make throws without, being put on their behind. So Mekhi Becton will be a New York Jet. Now we move on to number 12. This is where everything gets really exciting. We still got a couple quarterbacks on the board, a couple receivers. Number 12, the Oakland Raiders select wide receiver Jeudy from Alabama. This dude is the best receiver in the draft. He's got tons of speed, great route running. This dude is an absolute beast. I really don't see too many holes in his game. Jeudy will go to Oakland. They've spent the last couple years making defensive picks. Now they're going to help out Derrick Carr in the offense. Great choice. Now the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to be picking at number 13 because of the DeForest Buckner trade with the Colts. They're going to select wide receiver Henry Ruggs III. Henry Ruggs was Jerry Jeudy's teammate at Alabama. He's got tons of speed, fits Kyle Shanahan's offense perfectly. He'll play the slot receiver position after the Niners trade Marquise Goodwin. This dude is a beast as well. We move on to number 14, probably the most talked about team right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just recently acquired Rob Gronkowski after signing Tom Brady. Absolutely nuts in the last 24 hours. They have tons of offensive pieces, but they're going to pick yet another offensive player. This time it's going to be yet another O-lineman. They're going to get Josh Jones out of Houston. He's used to playing in an up-tempo offense at Houston. Josh Jones is going to be able to protect Tom Brady in his rookie season. I'm confident. This will help out the Bucs a lot as they look to score a lot of points this year. Now we move on to number 15, where the Denver Broncos, they need a wide receiver. They're going to draft wide receiver Ceedee Lamb, an absolute beast. I think he might be 6'2", 6'3" range. He's super tall, freak athlete, can pretty much grab the ball out of the air anywhere you throw it. Ceedee Lamb will be on the other side of Courtland Sutton this year, and it's going to be exciting to watch. All right, number 16. This pick is held by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who traded it from the Atlanta Falcons. And oh my goodness, the Jaguars are going to trade down yet again. So the Falcons held this 16th pick. They traded it to Jacksonville when they picked C.J. Henderson. Now Jacksonville's trading it again to the New England Patriots, who need a quarterback. They are going to select quarterback Justin Herbert from Oregon. Wow. So the Patriots, they trade for this pick. They get Justin Herbert, the successor to Tom Brady. We'll see if it works out. What a pick. Super shocking trade there. The Patriots have tons of picks to move. They have, I believe, 10 picks in each of the next 2 or 3 drafts. they're going to be able to move up whenever they want. They're going to get Justin Herbert here. Crazy stuff. Now that leaves America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, that everybody hates. They're picking at number 17. Safety, Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. Probably the best safety in the draft. He is an absolute beast, a Bama kid, which the Cowboys like. The Cowboys need a safety. They did pick up Clinton Dix, but I think they can definitely use another one. Xavier McKinney will be an absolute monster for them. Now we go to number 18. This pick is held by the Miami Dolphins, who made a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers last year for Minkah Fitzpatrick. I am so glad we have Minkah on my Steelers. And the Dolphins will select quarterback Jordan Love out of Bakersfield, California, represent. He played for Utah State in college. He's a super athletic, modern day quarterback. He can really move, make all the throws. I love this pick for Miami. He's going to be their franchise quarterback going forward. Jordan Love goes number 18 to the Miami Dolphins. Now we move on to number 19, where the Raiders will be picking. This was originally the Chicago Bears pick, but it was traded to Oakland in the Khalil Mack trade. So the Raiders so far have already got wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Right here, they need a corner bad. They are going to pick up A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. He's a pretty solid corner. John Gruden really wants to build up that defense as he's been doing over the last few drafts. They're going to pick A.J. Terrell right here. This leaves us at number 20, where the Jaguars are picking in the Rams spot after the Jalen Ramsey trade. The Jaguars are going to select probably the best defensive tackle in the draft, Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina. This dude's a monster. He honestly might get picked before 20. Javon Kinlaw is going to Jacksonville here. He's going to fill the role of the, Calais Campbell, Malik Jackson type role in that defense as they're trying to get back to peak 2016 Jacksonville defensive form. Javon Kinlaw goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now we're at number 21, where the Philadelphia Eagles will be picking. They desperately need a wide receiver. They pick up Justin Jefferson out of LSU. Pretty tall, pretty quick receiver. Justin Jefferson is the move for the Eagles right here. Carson Wentz needs weapons. He really didn't have too many last year outside of Zach Ertz. Justin Jefferson is exactly what the Eagles need here. And number 22 overall, with the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings will be selecting cornerback Jeff Gladney. They currently have, I believe, one cornerback on their roster. They need a corner bad. Jeff Gladney out of TCU will fill that role. The Vikings are making this pick in the Bills spot after the Stephon Diggs trade. The Vikings pick up a much-needed corner. We got the Jaguars picking again in the New England Patriots spot from that trade earlier. So the Justin Herbert trade turns into the Jaguars picking at number 23, where they will select edge rusher K'Lavon Chaisson out of Iowa. I really don't know how to pronounce that dude's name, but I do know he's one of the best edge rushers in the draft. This dude was a beast in college. Definitely not as good as Chase Young, but he could play in a kind of like a 4-3 scheme. He can, rush from the DN position. He'll be a great pickup for Jacksonville as they're trying to build up that defense. And the Saints at number 24 are on the clock. They desperately need a linebacker. They're trying to build that defense up as well. They got tons of offense. We know they got Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara. They're loaded. Looks like the Saints got to go linebacker here. They pick up Patrick Queen out of LSU, representing Louisiana in the Bayou. Patrick Queen is a stud. He's one of the best linebackers in college football. He goes to New Orleans here. Number 25. With the 25th pick, the Vikings are back on the clock. They will select wide receiver T. Higgins. T. Higgins is super tall, super athletic. He will fill the Stephon Diggs role. that void in the second receiver position to Adam Thielen. After Diggs was traded to Buffalo, T. Higgins will be the Vikings' number 2 wide receiver this year. And this takes us to number 26, where the Dolphins will be picking in the Houston Texans spot after the Laramie Tunsil trade. Looks like the Miami Dolphins here are going to select defensive back Grant Delpit out of LSU. This is one of the most talked about players in the draft coming into the season. Not too sure what happened. I don't know why he's not higher on a lot of boards. But I think the Dolphins will be able to snag him pretty late in the first round. Grant Delpit will fill the Minkah Fitzpatrick role for Miami coming out of LSU. He's a monster. This takes us to number 27, where the Seahawks are on the clock with the 27th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Seattle Seahawks will select a shocker here, Ross Blacklock out of TCU. He's a defensive lineman. They have a couple holes in the middle of their defense. They definitely need to shore those up. Ross Blacklock will be a shocking pick. Not too many know the name, but he'll fill the exact role of a defensive tackle in a Pete Carroll defense. Love the pick for them. And that takes us to number 28, the Baltimore Ravens, who I can't stand. The 28th pick, they will select linebacker Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. I don't know how he didn't get picked earlier. I guess I probably should know how since this is my mock draft. But he's probably the best middle linebacker in the draft, if not Patrick Queen. But Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma is a tackle machine. He goes to Baltimore. Baltimore is going to be nasty on defense for years to come. And we're on to number 29, Tennessee, who beat them in the playoffs last year. Loved when they did that. With the 29th pick in the 2020 NFL Virtual Quarantine Draft, the Tennessee Titans select edge rusher A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa. This dude could play in a 4-3 or a 3-4 as a DN. The Titans kind of flip back and forth between both. They're mainly a 3-4 defense though, and I really like the pick for them. I think that A.J. Epinesa will be able to fill the interior defensive line really well for them. Tennessee is going to be a real solid team again this year. We got the Green Bay Packers on the clock with the 29th pick. The 30th pick in the 2020 NFL Virtual Draft. The Green Bay Packers will select linebacker Zach Bond out of Wisconsin. The Packers love their Wisconsin natives. Zach Bond is a linebacker. Any linebacker is bad after they lost Blake Martinez. The Packers have a lot of holes on defense, and I think he's going to fill one there. We move on to number 31, which is a pick held by the Super Bowl losers, the San Francisco 49ers. And it looks like they're going to be trading the pick to the Chicago Bears, who did not have a first-round pick this year because they traded it away in the Khalil Mack trade. The Chicago Bears will be picking at number 31. With the 31st pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears will select defensive back Terrell Lewis out of Alabama. He's a safety that the Bears really need. They lost Adrian Amos. They lost HaHa Clinton-Dix. Terrell Lewis is going to be their safety of the future. I really like the pick for them. He's kind of a sleeper who might not go in the first round. But we know that the Niners are going to be looking to trade back. They don't want both of those first-round picks. They want to get some second and third rounders. The Bears will give it to them to move up, to shore up the safety position. And that takes us to the last pick in the draft, where the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, are on the clock. All right, here we go. With the 32nd pick in the 2020 quarantine draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select running back DeAndre Swift out of Georgia. Probably the best running back in the draft, if not Jonathan Taylor. But I think the Chiefs need a complimentary running back to Damian Williams. LaShawn McCoy was out for the Super Bowl last year. I mean, the Chiefs did enough to win for sure, but I think they would like another running back to take the workload off of Patrick Mahomes and the passing offense. DeAndre Swift is the last pick of your 2020 NFL draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the mock draft. I'm sure none of this will be correct, but like I said, you guys got to Venmo me for my correct picks. It's going to be a super entertaining draft. I think lots of trades are going to go down. Just to recap some of the notable names, Joe Burrow gets picked number 1 overall, Chase Young number 2. We got Tua going to the Chargers. We got Justin Herbert going to New England in a shocking trade. Jerry Jeudy goes to the Raiders. The Niners get Henry Ruggs. And we get quite a few offensive linemen picked in the first round. It's going to be a great draft. Hope you guys are hanging in there on this quarantine. And let me know if you have any, predictions for the NFL draft that, I couldn't possibly foresee. I might have to Venmo you right back after you send it to me. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on some post notifications just so you know when I post, so I don't have to keep tweeting it out and putting it on my Instagram story, because I know y'all don't love to see those posts. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Deuces.